72 hours, I was just tripping balls.
Yeah. So that's a long
Well, I went to the holding facility naked.
Oh.
Yeah, they had to decontaminate me.
Wow.
Yeah, because I wasn't talking.
Oh.
All right, you're not going to say anything. We're going to decontaminate you. They cut off my clothes in front of all my neighbors right next to a school.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and a kiddie pool, like this little makeshift kiddie pool.
Welcome to the Dirtbag Chronicles. My name is Bryan, and I am your host. Today we have a great episode for you. This is Matt. And Matt, why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Well, my name is Matt, also known as Red Dog to some. I have a case where the DA thought they caught a very big kingpin, in which they didn't.
Okay.
But essentially, what had happened is that, this will probably relate to a lot of people, in which, easy money. We always are trying to look for extra ways to make a little extra money. And I thought that I was a smart kid at the time. I was 21, and I came across, how to make ecstasy. It wasn't something I wanted to do.
Okay.
And
now, were you taking ecstasy at that time?
No, I had taken it before, but I just know that it was one of those party drugs that, people could easily get in the area.
Yeah. And
so I was thinking, well, if that's the case, maybe I can sell something that would help make it.
Yeah. So you're a businessman.
Correct. And
entrepreneur.
And so to start this is that there's one precursor, and it's very hard to get. It's an essential oil. And this oil is what you would make for fragrance, perfumes, soaps, root beers. What else? It's just, there's other uses for this essential oil. Mm-hmm. But the reason why it was so special is that it was required in order to make ecstasy. And that is sassafras oil.
Yeah.
And so and at the time I was working 3 jobs. I was working as a server, and it was my first time ever doing a serving job, and I hated it. I was working as a gas station attendant for the 3rd shift, which is your late night shift. Yeah. And I was also delivering pizzas at the time.
Okay.
So, probably lack of sleep also aided into this decision-making process.
Okay.
But I did come across a website. It was a French website. And granted, this was in 2005.
Was this on the dark web? Or
no,
was this?
This is provincesense.com.
Okay.
Was the name of the website. So it was a French, you would order it. They took PayPal. And at the time... And this is from some, the laws I looked at, sassafras oil was still legal.
Yeah. Didn't look at the right laws.
And it's also indigenous to certain areas of the Southeast.
Okay.
So, and that's why you can still grow the sassafras root and, to extract the essential oil. Mm-hmm. But buying the essential oil itself is, I guess, illegal. Or it was scheduled substance in 2005.
Okay.
So I ended up purchasing 4 kilograms of this oil.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it was quite a bit.
Now put that into let's put that into terms that I can understand. Okay, is that gallons? Is that like a bottle?
It would be a liquid that you would receive it as, and in this case, it's probably going to be maybe 2-3 liters, maybe 4 liters of essential oil.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind that sassafras oil itself is not what you need to make ecstasy. I don't want to tell people how to make it, but you would have to extract the active ingredient or the active chemical of that oil, which is saffron, and that's what the actual illegal substance is, the scheduled substance.
Okay.
So what had happened is I bought all this oil, was going to resell it on eBay. Gray area I thought of the law. I was like, not going to ask any questions.
Yeah.
Here we go. Make some money. And it didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
Yeah. Does it ever?
No.
It never did for
There's
me.
and I would later learn in life, there's really no way to make easy money.
Yeah.
It all requires some sort of hard work.
Yeah, or sacrifice.
Or sacrifice. Yes, correct. Because even the people that thought they made easy money, the people that I would later meet in prison, were in prison.
Yeah.
So even though they did have money waiting for them, they still had to do 10, 12, 15, 20 years in order to get it. So, and would you do 20 years to, for, a few $1 million?
I don't know. It depends. Not in the state penitentiary. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
That's for sure. And it depends how much money.
Yeah.
But right now, at this point in my life, there's no fucking way. There's no way that I would chance that or risk anything like that.
And then, you would, because nobody likes going to a place where you lose pretty much any freedom.
Yeah, you have to get naked, squat and cough all the time. You have to, piss in your bedroom.
I was going to say, I only had to do that once.
But,
yeah.
Well, lucky you.
Yeah, I know. If you're ever going to do anything bad, get arrested by the feds.
Yeah, make it federal.
Yeah. And that's what I would later also learn in the holding facility when I was arrested. Was like, you're going to be taken care of by the feds.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what was county time like for you?
So when I was arrested, I was, and I'll get back into the story of the arrest, but I went to the holding facility naked. Oh. Yeah, they had to decontaminate me.
Wow.
Yeah, because I wasn't talking.
Oh.
And so it was kind of like, all right, you're not going to say anything. We're going to decontaminate you. And they cut off my clothes in front of all my neighbors right next to a school.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And a kiddie pool, like this little makeshift kiddie pool. And they had a yellow bristle brush with some palm olive soap. And So
why did they do that? Were you...
So in 2004, Hurricane Ivan hit, and I was watching our two dogs, or my parents' two dogs, and they got into a fight. And one cut the ear.
The dogs or your parents?
Yeah, no, the dogs.
Okay.
And one cut the ear of the one of the dogs, and how they do the flicking of the ears after after they've been tussling. But in this case, he got blood onto the wall. They thought it was red phosphorus, which is something we'd find not really with ecstasy, but more like methamphetamines.
Yeah.
And so they thought I'd been cooking something in my bathroom.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And they thought you were doing that because you had all of that.
Because I bought the sassafras oil, so they just assumed that I was going to be, or that had been.
Cooking meth.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So they decontaminate you in front of your yard. Is this midday, daylight?
Yes. Yeah, it's around noon.
And you're completely naked?
In the beginning of June, and
What the fuck?
Yeah.
How is that even?
I would later meet, and for all the older people out there, Noriega, during the Iran-Contra scandal, Noriega's attorney helped me actually try to sue the DEA on it. We just didn't know the actual agents. I knew one agent. I'm not going to say his name because he might still be active. Yeah. But, we didn't know the 7 agents that were part of the whole, whoever arrested me that did that.
Okay.
So we couldn't actually sue.
So let's talk about that. So you order this stuff on a website.
Yeah.
And it gets shipped to your house.
Yeah.
And they caught you with it, or they knew that you were ordering it?
And then this is the other thing, too. At the time, there was nothing... Think of a crime that had not been committed yet.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't taken the sassafras oil, it wasn't...
Broken down.
Yeah, it wasn't in my possession at the time. And a lot of this hinged on this new thing called anticipatory, where they anticipate a crime to be committed by somebody, which allows them to then, go for the arrest warrant. In this case, or in a search warrant as well. So they were anticipating a crime to be committed, which would be in the possession of the sassafras oil. Now, there was between, this is a federal case, so it's not states, but it's the federal courts. There was disagreement between like the Ninth Circuit and the Fourth Circuit as to the legality of anticipatory search warrants, for example. And the Supreme Court ended up ruling that they were illegal as long as it was based on good, usually the whatever the standard is good for, boy. Like the good, what is it? Like truthful, factual information that they had received that a crime had been committed or would be committed. Yeah. And so they had an informant that was working with the website that passed along the information, which is all what they really needed.
Yeah. And so you had never committed a crime or been in trouble
never. The only thing I'd done is speeding tickets. So.
Okay. So this is your first time in trouble.
Yeah.
Now they think you're this big drug lord, cook, and all this other stuff.
So who showed up my door was DEA, ATF, FBI, I believe it was, North Okaloosa County Drug Task Force. And the postal inspectors were there. It said something about the French postal inspectors also being there.
Shit.
I do remember the black SUVs and then the helicopter in the air.
Yeah.
So I honestly, between the moment of whenever they knocked, pretty much announcing their arrival, to the time that they busted in the door, I was like, should I leave? Should I go? Because I had a clear path, clear shot to the backyard.
Yeah.
And
did you?
No, because I also knew that if I were to flee, that's just another charge.
Yeah.
So, or if I were to dispose of the evidence, that's another charge. I can't, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And being somebody that's never been in trouble.
Well, I watched a lot of Law and Order. When I was 18, one of the things I wanted to do was be a lawyer.
Yeah. And how old were you when this went down?
21.
21, okay.
Yeah. So, and that's why I kind of knew how the legal system worked. I knew if I ever was in trouble, never. And this goes to anybody that is ever in trouble. Don't ever talk to them.
Yeah.
Ever. Do not ever talk to them.
Yeah.
You cannot talk yourself out of it.
You can always talk yourself into some shit, but you can't ever talk yourself out of it.
Exactly. They might threaten you, by not talking.
Yeah.
All you have to say is that you just want to speak to your attorney.
Yeah.
If you don't have an attorney, just say you want to speak to your attorney because one will be appointed for you if you cannot afford one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a right, ain't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yes.
Because a lot of people, they are feeling guilty and shameful whenever.
Or they think they're going to talk themselves out of it, and they're not.
Yeah.
That's the thing, because they already know what's probably going to go down, and by you talking to them, it's not going to change what they already know.
No, they're just adding to it.
Yeah, exactly. Or what they think they already know.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit before that all happened, because I'm kind of interested on how a good dude, with no criminal background, not really in the game, because you're not an addict either, are you?
No.
So you're just wanting to make this money. Let's talk about the years before that kind of led up to this day.
So essentially what had happened is in late 2004, I was, in love, first girlfriend.
Yeah.
Ended up breaking up. She ended up going out with my then best friend. They ended up actually getting married.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
How long did you date her?
2 years.
Yeah. That's a good little relationship.
Yeah, I know. And her parents would talk about if you, when you guys get married, we want you to, use so-and-so, to officiate the wedding. And it's like, I always thought that was kind of weird at the time, but, your first love kind of thing. So,
yeah. That first heartbreak's a bitch.
Yeah. But she was also the one that got me onto doing things such as ecstasy. And the first drug that she ever got me to take, which was, she tricked me, which was acid, or it's actually acid and ecstasy at the same time. It's what they call trolling.
Yeah. So how was that experience?
It opened my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it was scary as fuck, but I don't know if I can say that, but it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
So
I remember when I was in active addiction, I would take MDMA and acid, and it's called candy flipping.
Okay. Yeah.
And dude, I loved LSD.
Yeah.
And I loved MDMA. It was
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Like, it made me feel good. And then when I would take acid, I would just feel one with everything. Like, the trees and shit would breathe. And like, it was fun. It was, and it changed my perspective on the world, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it did a lot of good for me.
Yeah.
But it also, I don't believe LSD is one of those addictive drugs where you get strung out on acid. But I mean, I guess some people could. It's still a mind altering.
Yes, it is. It is. And I know with like mine, that was 72 hours. I was just tripping balls. So.
Yeah.
So,
that's a long fucking trip.
Well, no, like at one point, too, I think I tried killing myself because I felt like I could control my breathing to where I was like just stopping breathing.
Yeah.
Like, and it, your sense of time is totally distorted. So you don't know how long you've stopped breathing for. But I told, because my ex, then girlfriend at the time, I was like, hey, will you make sure I continue to breathe? And she was so tired because she had been up all night with me anyways. And she took, I guess, one herself, but then she ended up throwing it out or throwing it up into the toilet. And so she was playing babysitter, essentially, or whatever they call trip guider or whatever. So
LSD, like anytime I ever took it, I would just laugh for hours. I mean, that when I would finally sober up and come off the trip, like my cheeks would hurt. I'd have abs. I mean, everything was just because I would just laugh all the night.
Mine was paranoid. I was so paranoid. We went to TGI Fridays. I thought the waiter was an FBI agent, and then she did. I don't think she tipped the guy because it was like the worst. I think, and I will agree, it was the worst service we ever had. But.
Yeah, you hear that, TGI Fridays?
Well, yeah. We don't even have a TGI Fridays. We don't even have a TGI Fridays in our area anymore because it's so bad. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that she spelled out no tip and pennies on the table.
Oh my God.
I know.
I know. I feel bad for the server now.
Yeah, I know. And
Fuck you guys.
I know. Well, I never went back to TGI Fridays, so.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that relationship. I kind of want to know about that relationship because, a lot of people, and me, myself, personally, I can relate to that first breakup and that first heartbreak. It's devastating. I mean, it hurts so fucking bad. Like, I mean, I went through so much shit after mine, and I mean, I tried suicide, and I got strung out on coke and anything I could get my hands on. So, how did you cope with that?
I started working the 3 jobs.
Okay,
and
so
to just keep my mind, keep my mind busy.
Okay,
and then I was like, at the same time, cost of living in Florida is high.
Yeah.
And working like both gas station job is just minimum wage, right? And pizza delivery is technically minimum wage, but you get tips. And the serving job I just hated that job. So many entitled people. Yeah. Like that was my issue. You can never please everybody, even as hard as you could try. Right. And some of it was out of your control.
Yeah, that's a good life lesson too.
Yeah.
Quit trying to people please and just please yourself. Do what's right for you.
Exactly. So I was just like, there's got to be an easier way. And I've dabbled in doing like entrepreneurship before, be it website design or something like that. And I just thought this would be an easier way because I think about how much money that they would be profiting off of this.
Yeah. So did you already knew the people to sell it to?
No. And I just knew that in the United States, like trying to find it in the United States was hard at the time. Yeah. That's why I was like, well, I'll do that. Because it's so easy for me to import it, just like be an importer of the essential oil and maybe some other essential oils, just make it look like a legitimate business. Yeah. But
and you said it was about 3 liters.
4 kilograms is about 8.8 pounds. So okay. It's either 3 or 4 liters probably.
What's the street value on that?
I would later find out I was able that, according to prosecution, I was going to be able to make $40 million worth of ecstasy.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Did you know that's how much?
No, I did not. I just whatever So the amount that I bought was pretty much the amount that I could afford to buy at the time. And
$40 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been quick, easy come up right there. That's a lick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially when they go for like intent to manufacture or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go on to a little bit more about the arrest. You got decontaminated naked out in your front yard in mid daylight with all your neighbors able to see and everything.
Yeah, one of them videotaped it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, and then they come back and you tried to sue them?
Yes.
Okay.
But with the help of and this is while I was in prison, after I had told my story to Noriega's attorney, and I can't remember his name. He was this really big guy, though.
Yeah.
And he was always at the bocce court. He would never play bocce, but it was just where the older people were. And so we followed
in federal prison,
yes,
right?
Yeah, in federal, yeah. And so what we did was we followed our case, and pretty much we were just it couldn't just go through because we just did not have the defendants' names. We couldn't do John Doe because we did not. They wanted us to have actual specific names for us to serve the paperwork. So. And it was going to be hard for them to release that information. Like we could have done like a Freedom of Information Act to try to get the names, but it was kind of like an uphill battle. And at that point too, I just wanted to do my time and get the heck out.
Yeah. So how long did you end up doing?
So I was facing at the end of right before I ended up pleading guilty. If I went to trial, I'd be facing 40 years. 2 20-year terms, and the judge ended up giving me 15 months.
And you had a paid lawyer or a public defender?
I had a public defender.
Oh, wow.
And I was lucky because I think one of the attorneys that my mom was friends with had maybe suggested to the lead public defender in the district to take the case, and he did.
Yeah.
And so, I actually enjoyed it because, like I said, I wanted to be a lawyer when I was younger, and I did a lot of legal research. So yeah.
I know. When I was locked up, I did a lot of legal research too on the law library and things like that. You learn a lot when you ain't got shit to do and you're just sitting around. Because county jail was awful. Did you make bond when you were?
I was released on my own recognizance to my grandparents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the court looked at your...
I was lucky too, by the way, because the investigator, everybody told me I was not. I was going to end up having to, I'd be lucky to actually be, for what I was charged with, I was going to be lucky to be bailed out.
What were you actually charged with?
I was charged with 3 things. One was possession. One was possession of saffron, which was, I was like, I don't understand this because technically it was sassafras oil. But again, if you have sassafras oil, you have saffron because it's the active ingredient of the sassafras oil.
Because they probably thought because you ordered so much, that's exactly what you were going to do with it, which is what flagged it.
Right, to extract the saffron out of it. Even though that wasn't the intent. It was just to sell the sassafras oil, and then whoever bought it would do whatever
the fuck they wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then was possession of the saffron with intent to manufacture, and then it was possession. There was another one. They got rid of that one, and I don't remember what the third one exactly was, but it was another possession charge, essentially.
Okay. So you ended up getting how much time?
So 15 months.
15 months, and then you were done. You didn't have any parole after that, or?
I had 3 years of supervised release.
Okay.
And I do 6 or 8 weeks in the halfway house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
How was the halfway house?
It's a money grab. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Essentially, you just gotta give them pretty much all your paycheck, and you have a plate like a bunk bed.
Yeah.
I honestly did not see the purpose of it.
Okay. Did you have to go to meetings or do anything?
No. You essentially are. It's just kind of like it's like you're free, but you're not free. Right? Because if you do anything stupid, if you violate, you go back to prison, but all what they're trying to do is make you go to work because they want to get paid. So, yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to your prison experience. You were in county for how long before you went to prison? 1 day.
Well, I was only in, so
because you got bonded.
Yeah.
Bonded up.
Yeah. So I didn't go to prison initially until I was sentenced. So I went to Oakland County with just a clear trash bag on, and took my mugshot. And I have another theory, and I don't know if this theory is really true, but I can never find my mugshot. If you smile and just don't look guilty, they're not going to publish your photo in a newspaper.
I don't know. I've seen some mugshots where...
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm like, but I looked like I was super young. I looked like this kid didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you were in court and they looked at that file and noticed that you didn't have a record, maybe a speeding ticket.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't even try to offer probation or anything like that?
No, because they have mandatory minimums and mandatory sentencing guidelines for federal cases.
And this is in the state of Florida that this all happened, but it's federal, so it doesn't matter.
So regardless, I was already told I was going to do time. Like there was a fat chance that they were going to deviate that far from the sentencing guidelines because they essentially what the prosecution does after you do your pleading, if you do plead or if you are convicted by a jury or by a bench trial, you have a pretrial report essentially that will, what the prosecution is going to ask you, and it pretty much, tallies up a score, and that score is going to equate to how many months you're going to spend in prison. Yeah. And so the judge can deviate, but they still got to give you time. You're not going to get away with just probation. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you spent a day in county jail, pretty much just to go into.
I was gonna say I ended up in the Escambia County because I got transferred to Oakland County, put into a drunk holding tank without any sort of clothes on, and then I got sent over to Escambia County with the DEA, and then that's where I ended up getting some clothes. And they gave me pants that were too big that kept falling down, and then the top was too small and went up to my belly button.
Looking real cute.
Exactly. And I was hungry. Yeah. And I met some guy that was just coming off heroin who actually got me a Snickers bar. I was like, damn.
Yeah. Snickers in jail ain't too bad.
I was going to say, I felt lucky. Yeah. And then I remember one guy, he was sitting right behind me, and again, I'm a paranoid person typically, so when somebody's sitting behind you trying to figure out what you got in trouble for, I want to think he's a government plant. I'm not going to talk to him. I'm not going to talk to anybody but my attorney.
Well, don't ever try methamphetamine because that shit will make you really, really paranoid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, this guy is sitting right behind me. He's got this big dragon on his chest. Yeah. He's like, what you in here for? Yeah. And I'm just just pretending like he doesn't exist. And he's guessing and guessing. He ends up guessing, almost the correct offense. Yeah. Just not the right drug. But I still never said anything to him, Yeah. But it was funny because I remember that guy. I'm like, man. And I always wonder, was he, just put in there trying to get my side of the story that maybe I would say something that would incriminate me. But yeah. So, but then I spent the night in Escambia County. That morning, I got put into the federal courthouse, and then underneath the federal courthouse is a holding facility. And then you get to meet your magistrate, who then pretty much arranged, for the arraignment.
Gives you a bond.
And then, exactly. And that was more or less interesting because my attorney at the time was not the same attorney that would later have. Couldn't even pronounce the actual MDMA is the long form of the name. Even I forgot what it is.
Yeah, I can't even. I just know it as MDMA. MDMA.
Yeah, exactly.
The good shit.
Exactly.
So. What was your first day of prison like?
So before prison, I didn't know what to expect because there was also two places I could have gone. I could have gone to the medium security place in Mariana, or I was going to go to low security in Pensacola. At the time of sentencing, I was sentenced with 2 MS-13 gang members, which you could really have gone either way. I could have been sentenced to Mariana with them, or I would look like an angel and be sentenced to low security in Pensacola, and I got low security. So,
well, good for you.
Yeah.
So, what was that? What was federal prison like? Because I've never experienced
It's a summer
federal
camp.
prison. Is it?
You know, so the Club Fed is really what it is. So, and on top of that, I was the youngest guy there. So, there was nobody that could believe that, you know, that I should be in there.
Yeah.
So, I was a baby compared to everybody.
Did you get along with everybody?
Oh, yeah. That was the thing is, you know, they all what they're trying to do is just get out themselves, right? So they're all just trying to be on their best behavior.
Yeah.
So, and that was like, at first I didn't really see that, right? Just because you see prison stuff on TV, you start getting this idea like, oh my God, I got to protect my butt, you know?
Yeah.
You know, showers are going to be awkward.
That's against butts.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's not the one thing you have to worry about is staph infection, you know?
Yeah.
Not, you know, somebody else coming up to you.
Yeah, that's not too bad to worry about in
federal prison. I don't know how it is for state prison.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Yeah.
So, did you have a job in there or anything like that?
Yeah, I was a baker's. I wasn't the head baker. I was just
like a sous chef.
Like I was below him.
Yeah.
But I was the other baker.
Okay.
So I was the second highest paid prisoner there.
Okay.
Because we worked every day.
So I've never experienced being paid to work in prison. So how did you get paid? What was that like?
So I would, at first I was making like maybe $16 or $18 an hour. And an
hour?
Yeah. Or sorry, a month.
A month. Okay.
$16 to $18 a month. Let me just.
Okay. I was like, damn, that's a good job.
I'm so used to saying an hour because that's what you make on the outside.
Yeah. But damn, I need to go to federal prison and save up some dollars.
No, so $16, $18 like a month.
Okay.
And you use that money for your commissary, and essentially for $16 to $18, you really can't buy anything then, right? Yeah. You can buy a bunch of mackerel and that's it.
I do not like Jack Mac.
Yeah. I mean, I got used to it, but but that was also currency, you know?
Yeah.
That's how, like, if you're playing cards or... Yeah. So I kind of miss those days, but...
Playing cards?
Well, no, just like the whole, the currency, that, how, like, the economics of what prison is, you know?
Yeah.
So, But then after a month, we demanded a raise because we were the only ones that would work every single day. We never had a day off. And we would literally work from essentially 4:30 in the morning to about 5:30 in the evening. And so it was but it helped pass the time. So that's the reason why I enjoyed the job. Yeah. And I also got to, actually make the one thing that all the prisoners wanted to eat. There was a downside to that. If you mess up, if you don't make, something good, you're going to hear about it later.
Yeah. Did you ever sneak any food back from the kitchen?
The first day, actually. That was a test. So I met one of my bunkmates. His nickname is BDD, also known as Big Dick Dave.
Big Dick Dave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always was like,
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe. Usually when people are like that, they don't have
big dicks.
Yeah, exactly. But I never was like, chew me, because that was just been too weird. But we strapped about 12 donuts around my torso. Yeah. And I ran right into a CO as I'm leaving. And CO Walsh, and he has his Oakley's on. He takes them off a little bit, scans me up and down. I'm pretty sure he saw fuck. Yeah.
Dude's got donuts.
And he's like, where the donuts at? I'm like, oh, there's some in the back. So.
So you got away.
Yeah, I got away.
That's like your first.
That was the only time though that I would later ever get caught with having by a CO. Like wasn't really caught, but I'm pretty sure he knew that.
Yeah.
because he asked me immediately where the donuts were.
I remember running my first, putting in my work for the first time, trying to carry shit back. And you're like, oh, the first time you're real nervous. You're like, shit, everybody knows that I got this on me. And then, then it gets easier as you keep doing it.
Well, yeah, you realize that, you have tools at your disposal. Like we had our white, like little mesh bags.
Yeah.
And then you would go to do your laundry, pick up your laundry. And then, depending on where you could put said product in the back of the, facility, you could just easily just grab it and put it in there. And usually you wouldn't be able to see it mix in with all your clothes.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
And that's what we did with like monkey bread and whatnot. So,
yeah. So you had the hookup. I mean, it sounds like you had the best job.
So, yeah. And then all the prisoners would come to us so like one of the things that we would do is like make cookies.
Okay.
That were not on the menu. Then we go to the vending machines that we had. And because the cards would have like a balance, that your family members would put on it. So you go to the vending machine, buy Coke or, one of the candy bars or something like that. And so you'd have people that would buy like, Hershey's and M&Ms and stuff like that. And they would want those, to be made into cookies.
Yeah.
And so that's what we would do.
Okay. So you had a little hustle.
Yeah, I did it sometimes, only when Dave would not want to do it.
Let's call him by his name,
okay.
Big Dick Dave.
Yeah, okay, Big Dick Dave.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Shout out Big Dick Dave.
Yeah, if you're still alive.
All right.
Yeah, I think it was like 70 or 65 or 70 at the time. So.
Oh, shit.
Or he could have been younger. He just might have looked really older.
He might be dead Dick Dave now.
Yeah. That's why I do wonder where, I didn't really keep up with any of them because we're not supposed to after you get out.
Yeah.
And I do wonder what some of them are doing. They did make a movie about one of the guys that I was in there with. Matt Damon actually played him in The Informant. I always thought it was weird that The Informant, though, and the ending is not true to life. It has him being released from a South Carolina prison, I believe, when he was actually released from Pensacola.
Huh.
And I always wondered why they made that change.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If somebody knows, comment, let us know.
Yeah, Mark Whitaker.
Yeah.
If you're around.
Okay, so you were in prison for 15 months in federal prison.
Yeah. So when you do 15 months, you really only do 12 of them good behavior. So I was there actually 1 day shy of a year.
Okay.
So
okay. Did you have support? Were you getting letters in the mail, money on your books, stuff like that?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom, my grandma would actually come see me a lot. My mom would see me. My dad was a fugitive at the time, like halfway through, because he stopped paying child support. Oh. So he didn't show up for the second half of my term.
Yeah, don't show up to a prison if you have warrants.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay. So prison was pretty straightforward. Minimum security prison.
Yeah.
You had a good job. I mean, you didn't witness. Did you witness any fights?
I witnessed somebody die in front of me from a heat stroke we were playing soccer.
Sounds like a tough fucking prison.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was whenever they did find out that I was going to be released soon, they did start spreading a rumor to try and get me to stay there, which would have ended my good behavior, which was somebody stole the chickens that were in the freezer. And I technically would have access to said area. And so the CO was one of them that was investigating as to what had happened to all their poultry, was asking me who Red Dog was. I was like, that's me. Why? And he explained to me what was going on. I was like, I would have a theory. Yeah. And so we had dorm A, dorm B, dorm C. And I believe somebody in dorm A ended up getting all these chickens because that's where all the chicken was coming from.
Did you tell?
No.
No?
Because I mean, even if I did know, I really didn't know who it could have been because most of the kitchen workers were in dorme.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't want to, then maybe get hurt.
Right.
So,
Right.
because
Yeah.
Snitches get stitches, right?
Snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
Yep, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else real crazy happen while you were in prison?
No,
Any cell phones, any drugs,
so yeah, and
cigarettes?
so like in the I learned how to make what we call the
Hooch?
hooch.
Okay.
Yeah, hooch.
Did you get drunk?
I didn't. I wanted to be good and just get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
I didn't have that much time, but for somebody that had 5-10 years left, probably it might be different. And there's a lot of people that would smuggle like protein and cell phones in, but they would always get caught.
Wait, they were sneaking protein in?
Yeah, protein powder.
Okay.
Because the only protein powder that we'd be able to buy at the commissary was egg, like dried egg powder, which is just disgusting.
Were the guards bringing that in, or
No. It's just I know one of the family members that would come to like for visitation would pretty much dump it in the trash, and I guess that's how they were getting it in.
Oh wow! I guess protein powder, dogs don't smell it. It's
well, we really didn't have like dogs there too.
No?
I don't recall seeing dogs. A lot of it was done just by them visually checking like areas.
Yeah.
We had a drone that drops things off at one point, but I believe that one, like, it eventually got caught because there was a public access road right next to us in a big field, and they could easily just throw things across the fence if they really wanted to at night. So, yeah.
So it wasn't very heavily secured.
So
they have towers and guns.
Yeah, there's no towers and guns and stuff like that. It honestly reminded me as a kid as like going to summer camp.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not a bad little prison trip.
Well, but the thing about it was like, you can't, like, I grew up on a computer. You do have a computer to learn maybe a different language or to learn how to reintegrate back into society. And I had not been away from society too long to, know what, just like I felt like I would be right back at home if I were to come back into society.
Yeah.
Whereas my bunkmate, Mike Trammell, who had been in prison for almost 20 years, was scared to death. So, and he was talking about how he was going to probably violate and come back because that's the only thing he knows how to do.
Yeah.
And it was kind of sad.
Yeah.
And I don't know what ever happened to him, but, I just know it's different for people that have different times.
Absolutely different prisons and things like that.
Yeah. Other things I learned were that everybody can be anything in prison.
Yeah.
Because you have no way to check their story out.
Right.
So you just have to kind of believe them.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I try to do to pass time is to join clubs. Like for us, we had Toastmasters. I used to be a debater.
What is Toastmasters?
So it's pretty much like a speaking group. You just do speeches in front of. I used to do public, speeches and did speech and debate in high school and college. So it kind of fit right at home. And then we had a music room to where we could play instruments. What else? I did college classes while I was there. I tutored somebody while I was there for college algebra. What else? We still had a weight yard or like a place to lift weights. Yeah. They were trying to get rid of those in the federal system at least at the time. And,
did you hit the weight yard?
I would sometimes.
Yeah.
But
so you didn't come out of prison buffed up?
No, I went into prison buff, but I came out I did more cardio than anything.
Yeah. Just
because the yard would always be just full. So, and then on top of that, it was outside and the weights were kind of dirty. And I was always, again, afraid of getting a staph infection.
Yeah. So you stayed pretty low in prison.
Yeah.
Wrote it out, did your time. pretty quietly.
Correct. Yeah.
And just made the best of it. It sounds like.
Yeah, and like it sucks because sometimes like the days don't go by fast enough.
Yeah.
Especially when you just want to talk to somebody and you really don't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah.
But it did give me a new appreciation of life. I used to be like a depressed individual before I went in there, and it just made me think of like how much life could be so much worse being like living that way for a longer time.
Yeah. So do you think that prison did some kind of purpose for you?
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of just made me just, even though people would say that I still act the same, it did make me grow up and just realize that, one, there's no easy way to make money. I mean, there might be, like, some people are lucky. I think a lot of times luck has a lot to do with how people come into money, which is easy money. But,
I came into some easy money one time. So I went and bought a $5 scratch off. And
luck involved.
Hit for $100,000.
Yeah, so
and it was, but it left me so fast.
Yeah.
And so easy money goes easy too.
Correct.
And but not for all people. Some people can get easy money and they can do something with it and keep it. But me, not me. I get it, and it's a party.
Yeah,
I feel like Oprah. You get 100. You get 100.
Yeah. And they're like, so. That was the other thing too, is like to the original question as to how it was on like my first day, I didn't eat for 7 days.
Oh, wow.
I didn't take a shower for 7 days.
You're stressed.
Because I did not know these people, like, because again, you're kind of like brainwashed by what you see on TV, thinking that that's going to be you. I do remember on September 12th, my birthday, all my clothes were removed from my shower stall, so I had to come out of the shower stall naked. Well, no, they left me a washcloth, so I had to choose from covering my front or my back. You know? So
and they all laughed at you.
Well, yeah, they did. And I was like, "Oh, guys, very funny."
All right, so let's talk about life after prison.
Yeah. So
was it difficult?
So it was hard.
Out?
So it wasn't difficult getting out because I played by the rules. I didn't want to screw it up because I thought I was given pretty much a second chance at having a normal life. I was still young. When I got out, I was 23. Hold on, let me do the math. Yeah, I was 23. No, I was 22 still. Hold on. No. 23.
Okay.
Yeah. But I was still young. At 23, you still got you're still kind of almost just years away from being, the teenager that you used to be.
Yeah.
So I ended up, getting my life back together, went back to college, ended up having to get the support from my judge to get me back, to write a letter to UCF to allow me back into college for them. And then kind of just played the college game for a little bit, and around 2010 or 2011 started working for Apple, and just lived a normal life.
Yeah. What was your job like at Apple?
I just did the customer support stuff. At the time I was still going to school though at UWF. And it kind of fit. My degree was computer engineering, but I had switched over to software engineering, and it just kind of like fit, just because it was an easy job to do from home, nonetheless.
Okay. Yeah. So is that what you do today?
No. I work for an airline today.
Okay.
Pretty much in-flight services. You're trained as a flight attendant, and you pretty much just worry about the safety of your passengers and getting people from point A to point B safely.
So that's pretty cool that you can go to prison, have a felony, and then you can get a job as on a flight crew.
Yes, and one of the stipulations with that is that, again, you have to wait a certain time, and most jobs are going to not look back a certain amount of years, but for like anything that requires like an FBI background check, typically for anything major felony like that, it's going to be like 10 years.
Okay.
So
did you get your record expunged?
So, and that's the other thing is I can't really find my record. And I don't know if the judge had actually done anything about it, because I know that she said that she was going to be able to help me out at the end, as long as it was, good. And she wrote me this nice letter saying that I was a role model to other prisoners, blah, blah, blah. So, but nothing about it being expunged. So I'm going to assume it was not. But it's something that I might try to get, rid of.
Yeah, I definitely would try to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So life is pretty good today.
For the most part.
So you don't have to walk around and carry that stigma of being a felon, or
no. I kind of what's funny is when I tell people that they don't ever believe me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's a lot of people that don't look like they've been to prison or look like they've been in trouble. And honestly, you weren't a criminal, really. Not in my eyes. You weren't out hitting licks. You weren't really living a dirtbag lifestyle. You just got caught up doing some.
Well, I mean, everybody makes mistakes, and that's and the problem that I always will have with the legal system is that a mistake could be something that could cost you your entire life.
Yeah.
And it's just like a speeding ticket,
Yeah.
Just because you didn't mean to speed, but they still are going to give you the speeding ticket. I don't know if that's necessarily the punishment fits the crime kind of thing. And so that's why I wish that there was more leeway given to where, like, for example, in the federal mandatory sentencing guidelines, why do we have those?
Right.
Well,
and some people take advantage of it. They take it, give them an inch, they take a mile.
And that was the reason why I pleaded guilty, was because it in terms of your score that you get from the prosecution, in terms of the pretrial sentencing report, it lowers it to where you could possibly get very minimal, jail time or prison time in this case.
Yeah.
So. But I just don't know if I agree with some of these offenses seem petty,
Yeah.
And yet you have people who spend 5 or 10 years in, prison for something that's like, really, that you got in trouble for that?
Right.
Yeah. Especially on victimless crimes. I don't really understand why we have to, because we look at our system today, like, and that was one thing that I hated about I was cramped in this small room, right, with 16 different people. And like this room was probably twice the size of this room right here. Mm-hmm. And we all had bunk, like, literally, it was never like that, though. When some guy had been there for a while, was saying that, like, it used to be just 4 to a room. And you now have 16 to a room. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's a lot of people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, and that might be one of the reasons why you have, the whole overcrowding in prisons is right there. Mm-hmm. So,
and I think, you're a good example that this shit can happen to anybody, really.
Yeah.
Like you could skate away and never get in any kind of trouble, and then one day come up with a bright idea and get popped for it by the FBI and everybody else at your door.
Yeah.
And then treat you like an animal, and then you have to pay for it. But then you're a good example too on how you can move away from that and not allow that to hold you down. And do something with your life.
Yeah, because it was good. Like my fear was that I was going to have to live with it for the rest of my life, and I still do. But at the same time, it's not as bad as it, as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because whenever you do have the box, for example, if you've been convicted, don't lie, because they're gonna run a background check on you.
Yeah.
And as long as you tell the truth, it might work out for you.
Yeah.
Because if you lie, that's going to give them a reason to fire you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they do hire you, if they don't find it at first.
Yeah.
So that's why you always disclose. Don't.
Yeah. I've, with my record and all of my background, I have found to use that for my own good.
Yeah.
I was
going to say, you kind of proved everybody wrong. It's like you're back out trying to do good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we can use our past experience to really help others and make ourselves. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, this is great, man. I'm really glad that you came on the show and shared this view of your prison experience. It's a lot different than some of the people that I've had. And I think there's people out there that are going to hear this and get some hope from it.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate you coming down, man.
Anytime.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much.
Anytime.
All right. Well, this wraps up our episode for the Dirtbag Chronicles. You guys don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our content. Y'all have a good night.